We're just 2 days from Election Day, and so far women appear to be outpacing men significantly in early voting. The Harris campaign taking that as a good sign. There's a gender gap. Joining us now to discuss the impact is House GOP Conference Chair Elise Stefanik. Congresswoman, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you, Shannon.
Let's talk about the gender gap because clearly it's there. There are also people who haven't made up their minds yet. So Mark Cuban, writing about this over at the Washington Post, says this about using Nikki Haley. The former UN ambassador is the very model of a reluctant Trump voter who has put aside her reservations and decided to pull the lever for the former president. So why is Trump not deploying her on the campaign trail? Mark goes on to say he thinks it's political malpractice and that these two should just bury the hatchet, get her out there. Why hasn't she been used?
So a couple of points here, Shannon. I think it's important for viewers to know that President Trump is doing better among women than Kamala Harris is doing among men. There is a significant gender gap, but President Trump is overperforming. Kamala Harris is significantly underperforming. President Trump's campaign has strong, intelligent women deployed across the country. I've been on the campaign trail. Laura Trump is on the campaign trail. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. All of the women are working together to turn out the vote. And we are going to earn this support because if you look at President Trump's record when it comes to women, it was the highest number of women ever in the workforce, the largest wage and salary increase for working women ever. Childcare was affordable. And we had safety and security, whether it was a secure border or a president that supported our law enforcement. Look at what's happening today across this country impacting women. Inflation. I'm still the grocery shopper in my family. Women go and they see the impact of Kamala's failed economic policies with increased prices at the grocery store, increased utility costs, energy costs. And then, of course, you have the wide open border, which safety and security is a top issue for women. So President Trump is going to continue to talk about his record as well as many strong and intelligent women surrogates who are out there. And what I think is very telling is Kamala Harris's campaign. Kamala Harris did not condemn Mark Cuban's just disgraceful comments saying that President Trump does not surround himself with strong, intelligent women, whether you compare it to the First Lady, his daughter Ivanka Trump, or so many senior-level women that are working in support of his campaign.
I want to ask you about something else that they've been a lot of inroads with women in the conversation from the vice president has been that he doesn't respect women's autonomy and their agency. Here's a little bit more of what she said.
And Donald Trump's not done. He would ban abortion nationwide. He would restrict access to birth control, put IVF treatments at risk, and force states, get this, to monitor women's pregnancies.
Now, we've all seen the ads. They run endlessly, and this is the message I hear over and over again, and it seems to be resonating with a lot of women. How worried are you about the states that do have issues like abortion on the ballot and how that has been working for the left?
President Trump has been very clear. He believes that this issue should be decided at the states. He has been specific over his time in office. He supports 3 exceptions: life, rape, and incest in life of the mother. That is very important for voters to know. And when it comes to IVF, that is a false smear. President Trump wants to expand access to IVF, make birth control available. And the reason why Democrats are only talking about this issue is these are scare tactics because they are losing on every other issue, whether it's the economy, the border, safety and security around the world. We're going to run and win. And I think that women, as they look at the key top issues, they are increasingly looking that their lives were much better under President Trump versus the crises that we've seen under Kamala Harris today.
So I want to talk about a couple of things that Senator Kelly brought up. One of them is the CHIPS Act. And he says the president's going to get rid of it. It's going to cost jobs in his state and a lot of other places. I heard the speaker's explanation in trying to say he doesn't believe in getting rid of the CHIPS Act, but there could be modifications or things he thinks would actually strengthen the program. But Senator Kelly said President Trump says it's gone.
No, the speaker was very clear. He said we need to strengthen the CHIPS Act to make sure that the jobs actually come in America. One of the critiques of the CHIPS Act is that they're too much for other countries where jobs are created there and not here right at home. It is important in upstate New York. It is important in the state of Arizona and other states across the country. President Trump's economic policy is America first, not these giveaways to other countries. The other part of the CHIPS Act that is problematic that we want to get rid of, a small part, is the Green New Deal subsidies. We want to promote a manufacturing in the United States, and that's what President Trump believes, that's what Republicans believe, and that's what the speaker was saying. Get rid of these far-left, progressive, radical Green New Deal subsidies and actually focus on manufacturing chips in America. That's what we're focused on.
Okay, the Affordable Care Act, because that's the speaker had to do some explaining on this too as well. There were those who said he's talking about getting rid of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as some people call it. The top Democrat in the House, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, says they are determined to end the Affordable Care Act as we know it. Now, maybe that qualifier language is true. There has been talk about modifications to the act or to the law as it currently stands. 60% of Americans have a positive view of Obamacare. So what about this concern? Should they have concern that if you run the table and House Republicans have the means to, that they would somehow modify or get rid of Obamacare, which leaves them without options.
We want to improve health care. We want to lower costs. We want to make sure that people have access, whether you're in rural, suburban, or urban communities. That's what President Trump is focused on. If you talk to anyone, Shannon, they continue to see their price of health care go up and up under Kamala Harris's failed administration with Joe Biden. So we want to lower those costs, make health care accessible for all, and improve it in America. That's why you're seeing this slogan, Make America Healthy Again. That is resonating with the American people who feel that we can do so much better. President Trump is leading that movement with a big tent Republican Party that is focused on improving health care outcomes and access for every American.
So obviously the House, a slight GOP majority, which has been tough, I think, to manage on some issues. It's one of the tightest in history. And now we go into all the seats, of course, up every 2 years. Cook Political Report on Friday shifted 6 of these close House races in Democrats' favor, including one of them here in New York. You have several critical House races here in New York. Democrats have had a significant fundraising advantage. They're feeling bullish. They think that they are going to flip the House. Regardless of whatever happens elsewhere, Democrats feel that when the dust settles, and I know it took into December last time, that they're going to be in control of the House.
Well, certainly President Trump on the ballot is a net gain to every Republican candidate for Senate and House. And as we've seen in 2016 and 2020, House Republicans consistently overperform when President Trump is on the ballot. And in both of those cycles, the prognosticators predicted that we would lose seats. We picked up seats in both of those cycles. You know, New York, I'm from New York, obviously. New York is the epicenter for the race for the House Republican majority. Republicans, when it comes to early vote, are voting increased by 50% compared to where we were in 2022. And that was the cycle when, of course, we flipped those 5 House seats. So we are working hard to turn out our votes. The most important part of this election is getting those votes. So I want to encourage all the viewers to turn out to vote. But we feel very strongly we're going to win on the issues. And Kamala Harris is underperforming Joe Biden in every single swing district across the country if you look at Joe Biden's performance in 2020. So districts in New York that Joe Biden carried by 15 points, Donald Trump is up by 1 or 2 points. That's a 16-point significant shift. And that's one of the districts that the prognosticators moved in the wrong direction towards Democrats. I believe you're going to see a sweeping Republican victory along with the presidential on Election Day. We just need to get our voters out to vote. They are voting early. Election Day is going to be very important.
I don't think I know anybody on the GOP side of things that has a better, really in-depth knowledge of like all of these districts. You've been a lot of places. You know the data. Would you care to make a prediction about where you think this lands of the 435?
Again, I've been on the ballot with President Trump in 2016 and 2020, and Republicans surge and turn out to vote on Election Day. Not just Republicans, but unaffiliated voters as well, who President Trump is able to speak to and get them out to the polls. I think on a good night, we can win up to 10 seats, Shannon, which would be a sizable Republican majority. We're not taking anything for granted, but the issues are on our side. People want a secure border. They want a strong economy. They want peace through strength and a stronger national security around the world. On every top issue, Republicans are winning. President Trump is winning. And I think we could be in for some surprises on Election Day that House Republicans will overperform the predictions.
We're all just trying to figure out how long it's going to take for the dust to settle on all of these races. You brought up Mark Cuban earlier. You wrote an op-ed responding to his comment that President Trump doesn't surround himself with strong, intelligent women. He since issued an apology on X. I'll read part of it. He says, "I didn't get out exactly the way I thought I did. So I apologize to anyone who felt slighted or upset by my response. As I said, it wasn't about Trump voters, supporters, or employees." Do you accept his apology?
You know, certainly I think it's a trend that Democrats are saying out loud what they really believe. First, they called us deplorables. Then they called us Nazis. Then Mark Cuban said there's no strong or intelligent women around President Trump. And just yesterday, you had Kathy Hochul smearing voters who support Republicans as anti-American. Democrats are saying out loud, and they're attacking the American people and voters with that rhetoric. Look, we can have political disagreements. We're running to win on the issues. President Trump is running to unify this country on goals of securing the border, strengthening the economy. So Kamala Harris should have condemned that, and they didn't. Their campaign failed to do that, and that's offensive to so many women across this country, not just elected official women, but Gold Star moms, Gold Star wives, women veterans who are proudly supporting President Trump.
Well, we'll see where those numbers land on Tuesday or beyond. Congressman, thank you for coming in. Good
Thank
to see
you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.